he's always calculated.
Yeah.
He's always scheming. He's always deflecting. But has he actually lost the plot, or was there something behind this?
I don't know how much more I can say from yesterday, but I'll kind of try. I mean, the journalists were really sharp. Obviously, it's not difficult, but they were really sharp to get on the back of those comments and say, well, listen, Arsene Wenger won 3, and you absolutely caned him for being a failure.
Yep.
You know, for years and years, because obviously they hadn't won a title for so long, but he still had 3. Historically speaking, Ferguson had 13 Premier League titles. I mean, it's unprecedented. The problem is United and United fans and United board don't want to look historically. And that's what Mourinho's doing. He's looking back, and everybody, and all and sundry that are supporting Man United and want them to be successful, want to look forward. So they're not really interested in what Mourinho did at previous clubs or how many titles that he won. They're only interested in, and it's like every fan, why wouldn't you be selfish? What are you going to do for my club, for my team?
No.
And how are you going to drag back Manchester City, who have been the dominant team in England-ish, you know, in the last few years? So I don't think anybody with any brains is going to buy this historical argument.
Oh, quite a few people are buying it, I could assure you, given my own Twitter timeline.
Well, you know,
but the amazing thing for me is, and as Craig, he's right in one sense, in that yes, he's won 3 Premier League titles. If he'd won them in Manchester United, I could understand that point being a valid one. But given that they weren't with his current club, it makes absolutely no sense. And for me, the bizarre thing for me with Jose Mourinho, looking at this squad, looking at what he's done, looking at how much money he spent, at the squad he also inherited, everything he says now is about self-preservation. He goes on record and says, strategically, we won the game. Tactically, we won the game, but we lost the game. We prepared well for this game, but you lose 3-0. Talking about the titles that he's won, everything he does and says, both in throwing players under the bus and then in kind of self-praise and bringing up his own record, is as if to separate himself from how bad Manchester United are, which I find an amazing position to take as manager of that football club.
The thing with Mourinho is, if you go back to the pre-season over in the States, he sort of made his bed, and he's going to have to lie in it, because what has happened 31 miles down the road at Liverpool and across the street at Manchester City is that the Klopp and Guardiola have brought players into their system. They've improved players. We keep talking about Guardiola improving players. Mourinho, all he does is moan. And he's got himself into such a pickle now, such a state, that he got done last week at Brighton and the attitude wasn't quite right. I mean, Manchester United losing at Brighton is bad enough. But getting done, yes, they performed OK in the first half, but to get done and capitulate the way they did in that second half was absolutely dreadful.
Just 1 second before, I know we're going to show this Mourinho stuff in a minute. I just want to say one thing quickly before the boys come in as well, is that if you can prepare all you want, but if you play a player out of position and you're under pressure, and your team's under pressure, as he did with Anders Herrera, then you're leaving yourself, in my experience, you're leaving yourself open to that player playing an unnatural position, making bad choices.
Yeah.
And Anders Herrera made a bad choice, made a couple of bad choices. One was the tackle. The 2 was been 5 yards deeper than the other 2 centre-halves in the 3. And that's really hard to criticise the player for doing that, because he's thinking as a midfielder, playing as a centre-half. And the thought process, Adrian, is completely different. So when you put players in that position that's unnatural, they will not make the same decisions as natural centre-halves.
Well, I want to get Gab and Stuart's reactions in just a second. First of all, though, it wasn't the only eye-catching thing with Mourinho at Old Trafford. The applause, the steadfast applause, he's standing there almost stoically applauding.
Well, some are suggesting this is him applauding because he's going to be leaving. I don't see that happening.
What was going on?
I don't know.
What was he doing? Because he's normally off up the tunnel like a ferret up a trouser leg, isn't he?
And everything I see
Mourinho
do, everything I see Mourinho do, I can't help but interpret as self-serving. He follows this up by going into the press conference and again praising the fans, because he knows he's trying to make it into a battle between him and Ed Woodward.
Yep.
For the affection of the fans. And as much as he would like to put a lot of the blame for Manchester United's current woes on Ed Woodward, I think Spurs and getting beaten by Spurs kind of highlights why, again, that's smoke and mirrors.